Join me as I dive deep into my crazy story and also my crazy testimony on how I became a creator back in 2018. Right. So some of you guys, as you are watching this testimony, you will be inspired, to take a leap of faith, into a space that we called creator economy. Right. And some of you guys who are watching this video, you will begin to see some similarities in your own journey, right, guys? Because you gotta understand that what you are going through, someone in the world has gone through the process that you are facing right now. So I hope that as you guys are listening to my testimony and also my story, you will find healing. You will find healing to your journey, and then you will begin to find some wisdom, on the things that you need to look out for and also the things that you need to apply. Right, so let me just share a little bit of my background. So I matriculated in 2010, right? That's when I did my matric. I did well in school, right? I passed with good results. So that made me to go and pursue the degree in chemical engineering, right, at one of the top universities in Africa, University of Cape Town, right? So I did my studies, my undergrad studies. I finished in 2014, right, with a BSc in chemical engineering, right? The reason why I chose the field back then, I was very good in math and science at school, right? There isn't much that went through to me at that time because I was very young. So I don't want to be that guy who was like, I got everything figured out, No, I was good in maths and science and I chose an engineering degree, right? So I finished in 2014 and then I worked in 2015 as a junior chemical engineer, right? So I joined a company called SAPI, right? Where I got the first exposure to the corporate world, right? So I worked there for almost 3 years, right? Because when you finish at school, your undergrad, when you join the company, they put you in a program which is called EIT, right? Engineer in Training. So, which is a good program because you get to become exposed, to the corporate side of things, So I did my I did my program at SAPI, right? Which takes like roughly 3 years, And during the program, I learned a lot of things, right? Also, I don't want to say much because at that time I was very young, right? So I finished at varsity, I think, at 21. So I started working at 22, right? Right now, I'm above 30. So I'm sharing an experience that happened like almost 10 years ago, right? So at that time I was very young, I was experimenting a lot of things. So I don't want to pick a lot of lessons from that time because I was very young. So another thing, guys, that you gotta understand as a creator is that in your 20s, as a creator, you'll be doing a lot of experimentation, especially if you're a man, right? You start to build a very solid personal brand above your 30s. I always tell people that, you gotta understand that we are created different, right? In your 20s as a man, you are doing a lot of experimentation. But in your 30s, that's when you are building, right? It's a different story for women. Some women, they build their personal brands in their 20s and they become successful because we are wired different, right? So what happened during my time at SAPI, so as you are going through the program, the new guys will come in, right? Whether it's the vacation students or it's the new people who are coming in. So basically what you will do, you will have to show them, right? Show them around, teach them, because at least you have foot on the ground. So the guys who are engineers, they will always delegate that work to you if you have spent maybe 1 year or 2 years in the company, right? So what ended up happening, I will part of my work at SAPI, I will take the guys around the company, around the plant. So basically, I'll start to go with them in different sections and teach them, about the things that I've learned and also teach them about the company, right? And funny enough, that's the part that I enjoyed the most. I want you guys to pick that, to hold to that thought that was the part that I enjoyed, the most when I was working as an engineer, right? And also, it did not start at that time. Even when I was in high school, right? I think when I was doing grade 11 and grade 12, towards the end of my high school, because I did well in maths and physics. So my teacher would often call me at times and ask me to go and teach, those subjects in class because I was good, right? When he's busy doing his administration work, right? So I'll enjoy going back and teaching people. If you can check the guys that I went to high school with, they will tell you that, Tim used to teach us, and funny enough, it doesn't matter what I do in life, I'll find myself taking the value or taking the things that I know, having a responsibility to go and empower people with those things, right? So when I look at my life, there's a pattern that I keep on seeing, right? So basically, I'll be a student of something. It doesn't matter what it is. And then I will invest in learning about that. I will invest in applying whatever the thing is. And then I will become an expert, right? So meaning I will find a way to do it better. I will find a way to do it faster and to get results. And then once I've mastered, the part of becoming an expert, I always, have that responsibility to go and take that and give it to people. Meaning I always have a responsibility to go back and empower people, right? So it happened when I was still in high school. It also happened when I was an engineer, and today, I have a better word for calling that thing. It's called a calling, right? It's called a calling. So back then I didn't know what it is, but it's something that I kept on seeing in my life as I move out, as I move through the phases, of my life. It doesn't matter where I am, right? It doesn't matter also the type of work that I'm doing. There's always that thing of me, starting as a student, becoming an expert, and then empowering other people. So to cut the long story short, that's what I enjoyed the most when I was at SAPI. Yes, I was working as an engineer because that's my qualification. I was trained as an engineer, right? But by calling, because now I understand, by calling, I think my purpose on earth was to empower people, right? So basically I will start as a student, I will become an expert, and then I will empower people, right? So if you are watching this video, right, and you are an expert of something, I want to give you that challenge of taking those things and start to give those things to people, right? Maybe you're watching this video and you're wondering, what are you going to make your content to be about? Start by talking. Start there. I'm not saying that your whole content strategy must be based on those things, but one of the things that you need to share your experiences, share your journey, share the things that you know, because watch this. There are things that you know how to do right now, but if you trace back, those things were hard, right? So I want you to think that there is someone who is trying to master, who is trying to learn what you have mastered, right? So the minute you start to share the things that you have mastered, the things that you have results for, you are going to help a person who is struggling with those things, So many people, they ask, what content to create. Start by creating content around the things, that you are an expert on, and see what happens. I'm not saying that your whole content strategy must be based on that, but you can start there, right? Because at least you will share your expertise, but also you will share your unique journey, right? So fast forward, what happened, I finished my program, right? So I will do my work as an engineer, but from time to time, I'll go to the plant and teach the new guys, right? So after 3 years, you had an option, because after you finish your program, you will have to stick around, right? Meaning you will have to be a person who is moving around in many places until you find something solid, meaning until they hire you. So you'll have to stick around, be on a free agent, but while you are still in the company. So you don't leave the company, but you stick around and they pay you. And then when there's an opening, obviously they will hire you, right? Obviously, if you know your stuff or if you are performing. So what I did back then, remember guys, when I started this video, I said I'm not going to extract a lot of lessons from that time because I was very young, right? So I'm very careful in touching my history, because one of the dangers that we do as people is that when you touch or when you base your now on your history too much, you are going to limit yourself, because back then you didn't know a lot of stuff. Back then you were young. So you gotta give yourself some compassion, give yourself some love that you were young, right? So what happened, I left the company. So when I left the company, I left the company and I was like, you know what, I want to try something else. I left the company, I think I was roughly like 24, 25, and remember guys, I said, as a man in your 20s, you're experimenting, right? I only understood that now in my 30s, that most men in their 20s, they're doing a lot of experimenting until they find something to focus on, right? So I launched out, I left the company. I wanted to do something else, right? And then during that period, I received a call from my high school teacher who taught me mathematics, right? So she called me. I met her up, it was around Jan of 2018. And then she was like, Tim, there are a bunch of kids, that I would like you to mentor. So because at that time, I left the company. So technically I was not working in the corporate space. I was like, let me just try to find something that I can do for myself, right? Because I was no longer enjoying being in the company. Right, so I took the kids were like 25. I took 25 kids. We agreed, I went to a certain school around where I live. I talked to the headmaster, and then he gave me a class, right? So it was more of a lab, because most people are not using the space, right? So my mom bought me a projector back then, right? And then I used the class as a meeting space, right? So I started teaching them math and physics. So basically, again, I started empowering, the kids who wanted to rewrite their matric, right? Because those guys, they failed. So they wanted to rewrite. They finished school, but they wanted to do a rewrite, right? So I started teaching them math and science for the whole year of 2018, right? And while I started running the program, obviously I was charging them, right? I think I was charging each kid like 400 rand, and I will have my classes like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we were meeting 3 times a week, and then Tuesday and Thursday, it was more of it was a gap, right? We were not meeting on Tuesday and Thursday, right? So while I was doing that, I had time, right? And I got exposed to the space of online education, right? So, guys, sometimes we'll scroll on social media. So back then, I will use Google just to learn about few things, right? And then I got exposed, to the space of online education, right? And what happened, I saw a video of a guy called Anik Singhal. So he's Indian, he's based in the US. And I got a book, right? A book of his, which is called From Passion to Profit, right? Passion to Profit. And in the book, he was talking about how he made $1 million online, using online education. Basically, the book was like how he made $1 million teaching online, right? So because I was already in the space of my gift, in the space of my purpose and calling, so I was attracted to the book, because obviously, I also wanted to find a way on how I can make more money, but also doing what I love, right? So I read the book while at the same time I'm teaching the kids, right? So that was my whole 2018 and 2019, right? 2018, I got exposed to the space of online education, right? That space now currently, it is called a space of personal branding, right? So it started being called online education, it moved, it was called the creator economy, and now it is currently called personal branding, right? So basically these wording, they just use that they are used interchangeably, right, by different people to explain the space of the creator economy, right? So I got exposed to the space, and I read his book, and then I started. So that was 2018, right? 2018, I taught the guys. I ran the program for like 1 year while I was developing myself to learn more about the field, right? Guys, I wanna tell you this. Most creators out there, or most motivational speakers out there, they don't tell you this truth, that before you enter into a space, give yourself time to study about the space. And the only way to study about the space, see the people who are leading in the space, learn from them, right? In the space of the creator economy, first you gotta identify what is your purpose as a person, so that you will start to be attracted to the people that speaks to who you are. In fact, some of you guys who are watching this video, you watch this video because your calling in life, it is similar to my calling, right? Or maybe you are attracted to guys who are like me. So start to learn from those guys, so that you will start to see and follow the routes that they are following, right? Even though your journey will be a bit different, also a bit unique, because our testimonies are very personal, right? So guys, you gotta make sure that you study about the space. The problem with the creator economy is that most people, they rush to make money and they don't spend time learning about the space, right? So in 2018, I kept on learning. But I remember the first book I read was the book from Anik Singhal, which is called From Passion to Profit. And then the other guy that I moved to study was a guy called Remit Sethi, right? So that guy is more into financial, empowerment, right? Anik Singhal is more into how to teach people to make money online, right? So the other guy focuses more on finances. I'm sure you guys have read his book, his famous book, which is called I Will Teach You How to Be Rich. I think he also has a program on Netflix, right? So guys, you can go and check him out. So I also studied the guy, and I also saw that, the guy made more money through online education, right? Which is currently called the personal brand economy, right? Which is called the creator economy, right? Guys, I want to tell you a secret, that the personal brand economy, or the creator economy, or the online education economy, right? Remember, it's not only online education. We have e-commerce, we have different things, right? So the whole creator economy, basically currently now, it's worth roughly 250 billion, right? That's a lot of market capitalization, man. I think, and if you look at the projections, in the next 3 years, the market cap will be doubled. In fact, right now it could be more than 250 billion, which means more people, are in the space. So now the space has become more of the corporate industry itself, right? Guys, you gotta understand that the creator economy is a corporate industry. It's not just something that you do on the sideline. Like, even if you work for yourself, you gotta understand that you need to have a professional mentality, because one of the reasons why people fail in the creator economy is because they treat it as a pass-by thing. They treat it as a field that you go to when you are being rejected by the corporate space. But people not knowing that the creator economy is actually a corporate space. It's actually a very professional field. So you gotta fix your attitude that you gotta treat that thing as a serious job if you are a creator, right? So in 2019, what I did, I started a company called Educated Trader. It's called Ed Trader. So I'm gonna show you now the stuff that I did during that period. So 2018, I was teaching the kids, learning about the space, making some money teaching the kids, and then 2019, I launched my Ed Trader company. That was the first business I launched. That was the first business I did online, right? That was the first experience I had online, right? That was my first attempt when it comes to having an online business, right? So how did I ended up creating the company? So while I was working at SAPI as a side thing, right, I learned about Forex, and then I started trading Forex, right? So if you go and check on Google Trends, so I'm gonna go show you on Google Trend that Forex trading was actually a booming thing in South Africa back in 2015, right? So because it was booming, I also got into the space, right? I attended a course and I started trading, right? So that thing killed us because a lot of money was lost during that period, but I also had wins. I don't want to portray it as a scam. No, Forex trading is not a scam. It's just another field that you can use to make money, right? So I don't want to, people, they think trading is gambling. No, it's not gambling. Yes, you are doing speculative trading, which is different than the professional trading that are done by banks, because you are accessing the markets using a broker. But what you gotta understand, that thing is real. There are people who have successful careers on that thing. Again, to the same concept I use, or the mindset that even if you are a retail trader, you gotta understand that it is a professional corporate space. It's not a thing that you do as a side hustle. So you gotta have that mentality. So I traded Forex during my time at SAPI, and then after I left, right, obviously I was teaching the kids. I was like, you know what, I've been trading on the side, why don't I create a coaching material, right? Because I'm learning also about the online space. So I ended up creating courses, because remember at that time I read Anik Singhal book. I also read a book by Remit Sethi. So that gave me courage to create courses, right? So I created courses and then I hosted them on Udemy, right? I'm gonna show it now to you guys. And I built a website, right, for Educated Trader using Elementor Pro and WordPress, and I hosted my website on Bluehost, right? But that website does not exist right now because I stopped the business, right? I will explain later in the upcoming videos why I stopped Educated Trader. But it was a first attempt of me stepping into the space of creator economy, or the space of personal branding, or the space of online education, right? So if you check on Google Trends, right? So if you check on Google Trends, when you go on Google Trends, I'm gonna show you now that South Africa back in the days, right, Forex trading was a booming thing, right? So if we go on Google Trends, right, we're gonna check South Africa, so that you can see, guys, that what I'm talking about actually happened back in the days, right? So I'm gonna type Forex trading, right? Forex trading, right? So when I search Forex trading, we're gonna trace it back to 2015, right? Trace it back to 2015. This is South Africa. Scroll down, right? Okay, this was the trend over time. So we need to look at 2015, right? So when you check here, check custom time range. So you're gonna put 2015, right? So I wanna show you that this thing was booming back in 2015, right? So that thing was very booming in 2015. Maybe we'll start with Jan 2015 up until maybe okay, maybe we can do up to 2017, right? I want to show you guys that this thing was booming. Can use 31 of December 2017, right? December 12th, right? December 12th. Okay, why this thing not? Okay, let me go to full year and then let me just check 2015, right? Okay, and then you're gonna click OK. So when you scroll down, you can see that, I mean, this thing, it was very, the search volume, you can check around August 2015, the search volume was very, so this is the percentage, right? If I can pull a trend, you can also check that, you know, these were the region where forex trading was, you know, popular during that time. Even if you can check 2016, this thing was very high, man. This thing was booming back in the times, right? So that's how I got into trading. I'm sure you guys maybe have got into another booming trend. Maybe it could be crypto or whatever. But guys, we are living in that world where things are booming. Like when you check 2016, you could see that this thing was booming. Like check, the average was roughly above 75% to hundreds, which means a lot of people were getting exposed to the space of online, you know, trading. So that's when I created, you know, Educated Trader, right? Because there was a demand. So if people were searching forex trading at that time, which means whatever you do in the space of forex trading, you know, that thing was going to be successful because everyone was learning about the space. Even if you check 2017, right? When you check 2017, you will see also the same thing, right? Go to 2017, click OK. You will see the same thing, right? You could see now in 2017 that it started to decline, right? So when you check 2016, the graph was moving from left up, which means the demand, you know, was increasing. But in 2017, the demand started to die, right? If you check 2018 to now, the demand started to die, right? So if you created an online, you know, trading business around 2016, you could have made a lot of money in South Africa, right? So that's what I did. I started the company, but I started the company back in 2019. Let's check 2019. Because that's when I launched Educated Trader, right? So 2019, click OK, right? So you could see that the traffic was dying. So it was moving from below 75 to 50. So it was a little bit dying in a way, but I want us to look at the global trend, right? So we're going to click worldwide because in South Africa, it was dying, but when you look at the global trend, it was between 75 to 100, which means there was a lot of demand, man, because a lot of people were getting into the space. Everybody was becoming exposed to the space of, you know, speculative trading, right? So that's when I created Educated Trader in 2019, and I launched, you know, the business. But as you are reading my story, now you are beginning to understand how, you know, I moved in doing different things until I was exposed to the space of online education, which is now currently called personal branding. Now, personal branding is not only about online education, right? Yes, personal branding, the bulk or the key to building a successful brand, it is building good content, right? So when you look at content creation, it's more of an empowerment because you are empowering people, whether through entertainment, whether through education, or whether through, sharing things about your life, even vlogging itself, because you are sharing your experiences. So in a way, you are empowering people, right? So I started, built few courses. I'm going to show you on Udemy, right? So if you go on Udemy and then you type my name, Tembelan Tim Shozi, right, and then you click enter, so you will see the 5 courses I did. Guys, I'm not selling a course on forex now. I wanna give you guys that disclaimer, but I'm just showing you the journey of where I've been until 2025, right? But I'm showing you how I got into the space of creator economy, or how I became a creator by accident, right? Because I was not looking. Remember, guys, my background is engineering. That's my qualification. So I tell people that I'm an engineer by qualification, but I'm a coach by calling, because I empower people. So you gotta separate the two, right? Your qualification might not necessarily be your calling, right? And also you gotta understand that your qualification will also help you in the calling, because you know the problem with most people, when they think about their calling, they think that they can't use their qualification, right? So it works on each other, it feeds each other, right? So when you check here on Udemy, you could see this is the first course I had. This is another course, you know, easy 5 steps. The other one is called the profitable price action trading. Scroll down, A to Z chart pattern, you know, A to Z guide to trade forex, fundamental analysis, right? So I mean, the courses are still on Udemy, but I took down the website. I'm no longer promoting these courses, but I just left them there, because I mean, I thought of taking them out on Udemy, but I was like, what if maybe there's someone who needs this information, right? And also these courses are very cheap, right? It's like 180 rand. So when you look at it, when you look at the exchange rates, dollar to rand, I want to see how much do these courses cost, right? It's actually peanuts. So 180. So they actually cost like almost $10, right? So that's the reason why also I don't like Udemy, because the majority of the courses on Udemy, they have a very low pricing point. So it's very difficult to have a course on Udemy that costs like 5,000 rand, because the platform, it sets a standard for a price range. So that's why I'm no longer using Udemy. In fact, I'll share in the other video, but one of the reasons why I stopped, you know, I'm educated trader, it's not because, I mean, I didn't love empowering people, but I felt like the niche of forex trading was not the niche for me, right? Remember, I launched into the business because I wanted to empower people. I was like, you know what, let me just share what I have to people, and that turned out to be a business, right? I was not like, you know what, I'm starting a business, a professional. I was like, you know what, let me build a website, let me create courses and see how this thing goes. And also, if you check my videos on this, on Udemy, they were terrible, but the material, the content was good, right? And I'll show you now why I say the content was good, right? So these are the courses I had, right? These are the courses. So let me just click on these courses, right? I'm just gonna open the description of the courses, right? I'm not gonna open all of them. So I'm just gonna open, okay, so this one is highly rated, right? Because people are still buying the course. So if we check this one, this course has like 424 students. Remember, guys, this happened back in 2019. So this ran from 2019 until now. So this course, it has 424 students, meaning I've empowered 424 students with this course on Udemy, right? So you could see the rating. So I'm rated 4.4 out of 5, right? So let's go and check the calculator. I want to see how much is 4.4 out of 5. 4.4 out of 5, I think it's more than 80%, right? So you check 4.4 out of 5 divided by 5, it's like 88%, right? So basically for this course, right, I'm rated 88%, which is not bad. For me, it's good, right? Which means people were really empowered by the course, right? Let's check the other one. So the other one, I'm rated 4.3. Then the other one, I'm rated 4.8. Okay, this one is, I'm highly rated. Let me check a course that has a bad rating, right? I think this one is the, how many courses now? 1, 2, 3. It's supposed to be 5. Okay, let me check which one I didn't open. Okay, let me take this one, right? Okay, this one is poorly rated. So this one, it's like 4. Then this one, it's like 3.9, you know. and then the other ones were like 4.4, and then the other ones were 4.3, and then the other ones were 4.8, right? So I want to check the 3.9 because that was the lowest. 3.9 divided by 5 equals to 78%, right? So this was my lowest rated course. So basically my lowest rated course was 78%. So people, there's something in this course that people didn't like, right? But still, man, it's 78%, right? But the other ones on average, you could see that I was being rated above 4, 4.4, 4.3, and 4.8, right? So the reason why I'm showing you guys this is that I accidentally found a space of online education through learning from other people. But after I've learned from other people, I took the stuff I learned and then I applied it for myself, right? So I built a business. Basically, I call it a business now, but back in the days, I was like, you know what? Because I know this, remember guys, the pattern of my life. I become a student, I become a student of somebody, and then I go through whatever, I become an expert, and then I empower people. That's my formula to success, right? Become a student, become an expert, and then empower others. The question is, why do you want to empower others? I mean, why do you want to be selfish with stuff? Do you know, guys, that the richest people are selfless, meaning they don't hold things, right? So they understand that they live on earth to contribute. If you want to be successful, I strongly believe that we gotta contribute, because there's someone in the world who is searching for what you know, who is looking for what is already in your space. The reason why you don't want to give things to people, you can name many reasons, right? But one of the reasons why you don't want to give stuff to people is because you are selfish. It's not because you are scared. It's not because you have fear. I just showed you guys that one of the courses I had, I got like a rating of 3.9. If we can open the comments for sure, people, they said, bad stuff. Let me just go and open that up. The code that I got like 3.9, right? I want to check if there's a rating on that course. Let me scroll down, right? Okay, this one, very good course. So guys, I'm reading the ratings, and you can check also. This was 4 years ago, this was 3 years ago, this was 3 years ago, this was 2 years ago. Why these happened at that time? It's because forex trading was booming at that time. It's still also a field. It is also, helping people today. But for me, I left because I felt like the niche was too small and it was too narrowing for me, right? I felt like the niche was not my calling. So that's why I stopped, right? So guys, as you can see, I'm looking for a bad rating. So this one said the course is good, excellent course, is another from Tim Shozi. So this person, Estella C, was also a client of mine. She bought the other courses, right? So let me move up. Okay, this one, Len S. So the rating was like less than half. So reading down, prepared presentation, 0 value for beginners, cause no explanation and many mistakes. So this person felt like I didn't explain a lot. You see, this is another thing, guys, that you gotta understand when you are in a creator economy. You will build a product, and no matter how perfect or how valuable your product is, there will be people who still don't understand the purpose of your product. You see, you gotta understand, guys, that if you can get a rating in your space that is above 60%, then your product is good. But if you can if you can get a rating that is above 75% for your product, then your product is perfect. Remember, guys, you can't serve everybody, right? So let's look at this guy, Ross L. Very good course. Instructor was well prepared, knowledgeable. I knew a lot of the material, but he dropped new gems of information that I had no knowledge of or had looked at things in a different way. I think so, right? So as you can see, the other guys, they saw value in my product, but this guy, he didn't see value in my product. So I tell people that, it's good to get bad reviews, But because you got bad reviews, it doesn't mean that your product sucks. It's just that there are people, no matter how perfect your product is, there are people who won't understand your product. So stop trying to make your product to fit everybody. You can't help everybody, you see. So this guy, I mean, obviously somebody, maybe somebody else helped him, right? Because for me, it's clear that I wasn't a good coach for him, right? So when I coach people, I'm also expecting that some people won't see me as a good coach, right? But if I have a rating that is above 75%, then that makes me to sleep at night, because the majority of people, that means they got value from what I'm offering. So guys, this is what I did in 2018. I created these courses, right? And then I launched them on Udemy. So they've been on the platform for almost since 2019, right? For almost 6 years, right? So as you can see, this one, it has like 42 students. This one has like 97 students. This one has like 424 students. This one has like 128 students. This one has like 68 students, right? So in total, if I scroll down, right, if I scroll down and go to Team Shozi, you could see that as an instructor, on average, I'm rated 4.3, right? So 4.3, guys, that's like 88% out of 100. So as an instructor on Udemy, I'm rated 88%. So for me, it's very encouraging, because the tools that I was using at that time, even my audio quality was not that great, right? Even though I was using like the screencast software, meaning I was recording the screen because I was using PowerPoints to teach, right? Even though I got that one right, but the audio quality I wasn't happy about, right? But because my material was very structured in a good way that brought value, people, they overlooked the audio quality. So the video quality also, it was not that great, but you could see my face. You could also see the screen. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is that some of you guys, as you are watching this video, you might not have the perfect tools to create your product. Start to create a product that you can right now. We call that product an MVP, minimum valuable product. And also, you'll be so surprised that some people, they don't even care about the quality of the other things. Obvious, you don't want to create a product that is bad, because that's not a good reputation. But bro, just do what you can with what you have. Do your best with what you can and give it to people, and let people judge your product. Because if you will keep on having this disease of being a perfectionist, you're not going to create any products. You're not going to create any video. Some of you guys, as you are watching this video, you are stuck because you want to be too good at editing, right? But people don't realize that you can offer value even with small or little, or to no editing at all. Because remember, it's all about sharing your heart and also giving people value, right? So guys, in this video, I just showed you how I stumbled. I tell people that I stumbled in the space of creator economy. Obviously, a lot of things happened from 2018 to now, but one of the experiences I had that launched me into the field is that I started an online education business that's called Educated Trader, right? So right now, I've taught almost 700 students, right? My reviews are 158, and I had 5 courses, right? I could have made more courses, but the problem that I saw was that the pricing point is too low, right? Which means I would have to create a lot of courses on Udemy so that I can make more money. So that's one of the reasons why I stopped, right? But what I wanted to show you in this video is that, it doesn't matter how you got into the creator economy space. It doesn't matter how you got into the personal branding space, but you gotta be very careful that create a brand, right? Create a brand that is around your calling. Now, your calling, you're not gonna catch it. You're not gonna catch it all at once. You're not gonna catch your calling all at once, because remember, your calling is bigger than you. So as long as you can catch a glimpse of your calling, you are in the right path. Because I'm seeing people creating personal brands or becoming creators, and they end up failing along the journey, right? Or they end up stopping because they are building things that they don't care about, right? I will tell you this: if you are doing something that you care about, as time goes by, you will be successful in that space. As you saw with the first company I created, that it's something that followed me from high school. I always love empowering people. And also, I don't go in front of people and say, hey guys, I want to empower you. No. What I will do, I'll become a good student. I'll master a subject, because in high school, I mastered maths and physical science, and I got like good results. Even in my metric, I got like 100% for maths, and I got like 98 for physics. So I was a very good student. And because of my results, I was brought to the front to empower others. Because if you have somebody in the class who gets like 100%, who gets like 98, that person needs to speak, because there's something that they know that they need to share to other people. So that's how I got into a space of empowering people in high school. Also, when I was working as an engineer, I was good at certain parts at my work, and I started empowering people, and after that, I started being channeled to that area of my calling, right? So guys, as you are building a personal brand in 2025, right, it doesn't matter how your story started. Maybe hit in the comments. Maybe you can share your story in the comments, because I'm very interested to know your story. How did you get into the space of the creator economy? Guys, I'm telling you, that space is booming. There's a lot of value. There's a lot of impact that you can give to people. I don't want to say there's a lot of money to be made, because when you are following your calling, you gotta understand that your fulfillment will come from giving contribution to other people. Money is just a byproduct. Yes, you will make a lot of money, right? Because you will make a lot of money because you will be more authentic, right? To be more genuine. You see, these days we are craving creators who are genuine. Yes, we are craving creators who are smart. We are craving creators who are very skilled, who have wisdom, but we are craving to see creators who are genuine, right? So guys, as you are starting your personal brand, be encouraged. Maybe you are going through a space like me, because when I was working at SAPI, like I was earning a lot of money. But when I started educating the students in 2018, my salary dropped, right? Back at SAPI, I think I was earning like 32,000 rands, right? But when I started to teach the kids per month, I will earn like 4,000 rand. So this was a very huge drop, right? But now I was starting to set my feet on my calling, right? That's the thing with the calling, man. You will start at the beginning and you might face a salary drop, right? You might face a drop in your income, but don't worry too much about that, because if you can master your craft, your space, you will find yourself making the same money that you used to make and even more, right? Because remember, guys, the key of working, it's not about making money, but it's about contribution. Money is just a byproduct. So guys, I hope as you're watching this video, you are inspired, and also you will share your testimony, and yeah, man, I've shared my testimony. Obviously, I'm not in the company right now. I'm not doing any coaching when it comes to the space of trading, but that's where I started, right? So it doesn't matter, guys, where you started. And also, yeah, man, in the next videos, I'll be sharing more about my personal journey and also my personal story, so that guys will understand that you are also in the right path. So thank you so much, guys, and I will see you in the next video.